Agatha Barnes, a recently widowed 88-year-old female senior, was sleeping in her bed in the early morning hours of Monday, December 2nd, 2024. At approximately 3 a.m., one or more perpetrators broke one of the windows of Barnes' bungalow, entered her dwelling space, and proceeded to steal several of her valuable electronics, including her newly purchased smart television, her laptop, her tablet, and her smartwatch. In addition to stealing these items, the perpetrator or perpetrators also stole Barnes' prescribed opiate medication, including her oxycodone tablets and her buprenorphine tablets. Barnes is hearing impaired. However, on the night of Monday, December 2nd, Barnes, following a habitual pattern, decided to sleep without her hearing aids as they sometimes cause feelings of discomfort. Barnes naturally awoke at approximately 4:30 a.m. to use the bathroom and acquire a glass of water from the kitchen. At this time, Barnes felt an unfamiliarly cold draft while walking about her home. Shortly afterwards, Barnes discovered the broken window and came to the realization that many of her electronics and prescription medications had been stolen. Barnes immediately calls the police to notify them that she had been the victim of a breaking and entering and theft. She is terribly frightened, stressed, and agitated.
I, Constable Singh, was dispatched to the scene. As a responding officer, I have a dual purpose. Firstly, I must collect information regarding the offenses that took place in order to progress the investigation and facilitate the apprehension of the perpetrators. Secondly, Barnes is in a crisis situation, and I must thus help her overcome her major concerns and develop an effective action plan that she can turn to in the future. I, Constable Singh, arrived at the scene, being the bungalow belonging to Barnes. Shortly afterwards, a second officer pulled up in her police cruiser. I instructed this officer to begin the preliminary crime scene investigation while I spoke with the homeowner. I walked up to the front door, knocked, and Barnes opened her front door almost immediately.
Hello, officer.
Her voice wavers as she speaks. At this time, I notice that her hands are shaking slightly. I take a mental note of this occurrence. This could be a manifestation of acute stress. Hello, I'm Constable Singh. My badge number is 7393. I was briefly informed of your situation over the police radio, Miss Barnes. I'll be asking you a few questions about exactly what happened so that I can move forward with an investigation and catch the individual or individuals involved. This brief introduction serves to build rapport. It builds a foundation of trust and mutual understanding. This will facilitate the upcoming interview process.
Yes, officer. I understand. I just really want my stuff back. I think my doctor can get me new pills. But, oh gosh, I really can't afford to buy all that expensive stuff again.
In this statement, Barnes is articulating her primary concerns. Evidently, she wants her medication and her electronics returned to her. I take note of this. Additionally, at this point, I'm cognizant of my attending behavior. Barnes is experiencing a crisis situation, and as the attending officer, I must conduct myself in a manner that is emblematic of the fact that I am attentive, concerned, and interested. I ensure that I have adopted an open posture and overall stance. Each time Barnes and I are engaged in conversation, I make eye contact. Additionally, my vocal style is both calm and encouraging. Miss Barnes, I acknowledge and understand your concerns. I promise that they will be addressed and that a viable solution will be achieved. Please, take a seat. Noticing that Barnes is an elderly woman, I decide to conduct the interview while both of us are seated on the sofa. Once seated, I lean in slightly towards Barnes to demonstrate my degree of interest regarding what Barnes has to say. This is an additional example of employing effective attending behavior. It is important to note that all 4 examples of attending behaviors thus demonstrated should continue to be exhibited throughout the interview. I will begin by asking a series of open-ended questions to which Barnes can freely respond. Open-ended questions are non-suggestive. Their value stems from the fact that they do not limit the scope of information that the witness is able to provide. Please, tell me in your own words everything that happened.
Well, I was sleeping, and then I had to get up, as I sometimes do, to use the bathroom, and also, my mouth was kind of dry, so I thought I'd get a glass of water too. I then put in my hearing aids and got out of bed. When heading to the bathroom, I felt this cold draft in my house. I walked around a bit more, I noticed that my dining room window was smashed in. However, I didn't hear anything, my house was silent. I was really scared at this time, but I continued to look around. I assumed that if anybody had broken the window to enter my home, then they were now gone. My house looked emptier than usual, and I came to the realization that my electronics were stolen. Also, I keep my painkillers on the kitchen table. I suffer from severe osteoporosis and rheumatoid arthritis, and my painkillers let me maintain some quality of life. And then, I called the police, and I waited until you knocked on my door.
You must have felt scared and alone when you noticed that your home was broken into and that your personal belongings were stolen. Thank you for letting me know about what happened. I see that, even in your old age, you're still very astute. In recent weeks, have you noticed anything suspicious or out of place occurring in your neighborhood?
Let me think for a second. I don't think I have. Everything is rather humdrum around here. Well, wait, I actually like to look out my front window quite often. I just like to know what is happening out there, and seeing the neighborhood kids play outside brings me joy. Anyways, recently, I saw this rusty car idling outside my home quite a bit. I remember the car, because its windows were so tinted it looked as if somebody had spray painted them black. If my husband was still alive, I might have gotten him to go out and confront the owner of the vehicle.
I understand that it's very challenging to be a widow. You must have felt a great sense of loss when your husband passed away. I lost my father in recent years, and I have encountered many unforeseen challenges.
Thank you for sharing. After my Robert passed away, things have been hard.
In my opinion, your resilience is very impressive. What information, if any, can you share regarding the individual or individuals who perpetrated these offenses?
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't see the perpetrators at all. I don't know how many there were, what they looked like, or what they were wearing. I don't even know what type of people would prey on an old lady. It's all my fault though. If I had just slept with my hearing aids, I would have heard the glass break, and I might have been able to get a visual on the people who stole my belongings.
I understand that you might feel a sense of guilt since you chose to sleep without your hearing aids. However, you must understand that these feelings are baseless. You were a victim. You cannot blame yourself for what took place tonight.
Thank you for saying that.
I will now employ paraphrasing in order to achieve greater clarification regarding certain points that require elaboration. No problem. Now I just want to achieve some clarification on a few things. What I'm hearing is that there was a car suspiciously loitering around your home in the days prior to the breaking and entering that took place tonight. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Can you provide any further details concerning the vehicle?
It was a standard car with 4 doors. It was black. It was a Nissan for sure. Maybe an Altima or Maxima, I am unsure. I didn't get the plates, or anything unfortunately.
I understand. You said that the windows were extremely tinted, which made seeing inside the vehicle difficult. Is this accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. Because the windows were practically black, I didn't get even a glimpse of the driver or anyone inside the vehicle.
Okay. Furthermore, you outlined the items that were stolen being several electronics and some prescription opiates. Is this correct?
Yes, my electronics and medications were stolen. I made a list, actually. The stolen electronics include my newly purchased smart television, my laptop, my tablet, and my smartwatch. The stolen medications include my oxycodone tablets and my buprenorphine tablets.
Thank you. This concludes the interview. I've collected all the necessary information for the purposes of my investigation. I understand that this is a troubling time for you. I promise that I, in collaboration with my fellow officers, will work tirelessly to solve the case. For now, however, I have a few suggestions on how to move forward. Now, I provide avenues upon which Barnes can embark as a means of problem-solving the crisis scenario. I outline an action plan of sorts. Firstly, you can contact your home insurance company, as many policies provide protection against breaks and enters and thefts. Additionally, you can access resources such as the Canadian Resource Centre for Victims of Crime that provide assistance to those in your situation. Finally, it may be beneficial to purchase and install a home security system.
Thank you. You have been very helpful. I will take all this into consideration.
This dialogue exchange and the role play are indicative of what not to do as an officer responding to a crisis situation. I, Constable Singh, arrived at the scene. I was partially briefed regarding Barnes and the situation that unfolded at her dwelling place. I exit my vehicle, walk towards Barnes's residence, and I knock on the door. The door is quickly opened by Barnes, who is conspicuously agitated.
Hello, officer.
Her voice wavers as she speaks, and her hands are shaky. Naturally, Barnes is stressed and agitated as a result of being the victim of a breaking and entering and consequent theft. However, I, as an incompetent officer, am not paying enough attention to the behaviors that Barnes is exhibiting. Her wavering voice and shaky hands are reflective of her current mental state, but I do not register these manifestations of stress. Therefore, throughout our dialogue exchange, I do not exhibit the degree of empathy and compassion that the situation warrants. It is now the appropriate time to introduce myself, which doubles as an opportune time to try and build rapport. However, in a callous fashion, I do not devote any time to developing a connection with Barnes. Hello, name's Constable Singh. I'll be asking you a few questions tonight. My partner is canvassing your place as we speak.
Oh, okay, officer. I understand. I just really want my stuff back. I think my doctor can get me new pills. But, oh gosh, I really can't afford to buy all that expensive stuff again.
I'm fumbling with my notepad as Barnes is speaking, and, as a result, I did not pay attention to Barnes outlining her primary concerns. Such absent-mindedness will hamper my ability to develop a viable action plan later on in the roleplay. At this point, it is important to note that I am not exhibiting any of the proper attending behaviors. I failed to make eye contact with Barnes as she spoke. I failed to maintain an open stance and posture as I've constantly been keeping my arms crossed and my body tight. I've selectively spoken in a more authoritarian tone rather than adopting a calm and encouraging vocal style. Yes, ma'am, I'm getting all that down. Now, let me ask you a few questions. The questions asked at this time should be open-ended questions that are non-suggestive in nature. This way, the victim is unlimited in scope as they freely recount their narrative. However, I fail to understand this. Instead, I choose to ask closed-ended questions that are leading in nature. Okay, let's get this over with quick. I gotta get back to my patrol. So, where'd the crooks come in from? You think it might have been through the back door? I, Constable Singh, pluralized crooks, which was an arbitrary decision. I do not legitimately know if there was more than one perpetrator at the scene. This leading question warps Barnes's perception, leading her to believe that there were multiple perpetrators as well.
No, officer, they broke a window in a dining room and used that as a point of entry.
Gotcha. Now that I've carried out all that stuff, there must have been a few of them. Now, how many of them did you see? 2, 3, more?
I didn't see the perpetrators at all, officer. I can't answer that.
Okay, and can you list what they took?
Yes, they stole my newly purchased smart television, my laptop, my tablet, and my smartwatch. Also, they stole my prescriptions. The stolen medications include my oxycodone tablets and my buprenorphine tablets.
Okay, and who else lives in this home with you?
Unfortunately, it's just me. I was recently widowed after my husband passed away.
This is an opportune time for a competent officer to employ reflection in order to convey empathy. I, Constable Singh, could say, "You must have felt isolated after your husband passed away. I understand. However, I reject this opportunity." If that's the case, then a home security system would be pretty appropriate, huh?
Yes, I guess so.
Now, I will engage in paraphrasing. Paraphrasing allows a competent officer to confirm the information he has ascertained and achieve further clarification on necessary topics of discussion. I, however, paraphrase poorly. Now, I just want to confirm a few things. So, what I'm hearing is that you didn't see the perpetrators and nothing suspicious preceded the breaking and entering?
Well, I didn't see the perpetrators. I didn't get to mention this, but I did see a Nissan loitering outside my home in the days preceding the breaking and entering.
Okay, did you see the driver?
No.
License plate?
I didn't think to note down the license plate number.
Okay, and the crooks came in through the living room window?
The dining room window, officer.
Okay, thank you for your time. I have all the information I need. Have a good night, eh? I do not offer an action plan of any sorts. Barnes, an elderly victim of multiple offenses, is left to her own devices.